Hi there. My name is Willie Bogue, and I'm going to be talking about tech worker organizing for power and accountability, which is work that was done jointly with myself, Harini, Bianca, and Catherine. So, to motivate this, a lot of great scholarship in algorithmic accountability has focused on things like model audits and recommendations for standardized designs, things like the SMACTR audit framework and data sheets for data sets, as well as doing model audits directly. However, most of this work relies on voluntary adoption by companies. But the areas where these practices are most needed are probably the ones where companies would be least willing to voluntarily set up their other incentives aside. Conferences like FACT have spent less attention thus far on how to push companies to adopt some of these great ideas. In this work, we use an archive which documents hundreds of instances of tech worker collective action. The archive was built by tech workers, union organizers, and a sociologist. In this work, we use the archive's expansive definition of tech workers, which is people employed or contracted by an institution that produces or uses tech systems. However, the entries in this archive do skew towards representing the experiences of white-collar workers. And as a result, this study also skews towards white-collar workers. We do highlight a few examples of warehouse and gig workers in the paper, but such areas deserve further investigations where their conditions and efforts can be centered. To analyze this archive, we use theories from political science and sociology. First, we use Gene Sharp's theories on nonviolent movements to characterize the landscape of actions in the archive. Next, we use labor organizer Jane McAlevy's methods to understand how workers build the infrastructure to perform these actions. Finally, we observe some trends in how this field has been developing. Gene Sharp was an American political scientist in the 20th century. He categorized 198 types of actions, grouping them based on their methods, such as strikes, protests, boycotts, go-slows, and so forth. Using Sharp's framework, we coded the 150 documented actions that had been tagged with the ethics label in the archive. But these successful actions didn't just happen on their own. Instead, they usually require weeks or months of preparation in order to attract participants and to be successful. Jane McAlevy is a union organizer who got a PhD in sociology studying how workers build power successfully. By analyzing a dozen union drives, McAlevy identifies common techniques that successful campaigns employ to build power. Having characterized the landscape of actions and examining the techniques used to build strong campaigns, we conclude the analysis by looking at some trends and considerations. One trend that we notice is that a vast majority of the documented actions were petitions and symbolic protests. Some political science literature suggests that early wins could be from the so-called fog of enactment, which is where incumbents initially don't know how to respond to a new kind of tactic, and the incumbents miscalculate and potentially give away more than they could have gotten away with. However, the decrease in apparent effectiveness of these tactics in recent years could suggest that companies have learned they can simply take a cycle of bad press and mostly wait the organizers out. And this is why McAlevy argues that successful campaigns need to build the ability to go beyond symbolic forms of power, up to and including strikes. In this work, we examine the relationship between AI ethics and employee activism. We contrast to much of the other work in the field, which consider theories of change that do not require corporate buy-in. And we situate tech worker collective action in theories of social movements and labor organizing, and demonstrate the large impact that such actions have had on tech companies and their products. We also detail concrete methods for effective organizing and how they might transpire in the tech community. Thank you.